Hello, everyone. We are slowly letting all the participants in. Welcome to this matchmaking event on Erasmus Plus calls for digital LSP members. Just a few seconds. We're going to start sharp so we have time to go through all the topics that we are planning today. So as you know, today is a webinar dedicated to Erasmus Plus course for digital LSP members, but we will also have examples from Blueprint projects. So we will go through best practices on projects that are ongoing. I will start by setting the scene. So first of all, I am Caterina Bortolaso, project manager at the European Digital SME Alliance, and I am one of the coordinator of the Digital Large Scale Partnership. So you will learn more about the Digital Large Scale Partnership during the rest of the event. So now let me introduce the agenda for today's webinar. We will have welcome and opening remarks by Joachim Schwerin, principal economist at DG GROW in the European Commission. Then Ronald Klein, that is the other coordinator of the Digital Large Scale Partnership and also program manager at Compani, will introduce the Digital Large Scale Partnership and the benefits of being a partner of the Pact for Skills. And then I will proceed with an introduction of Erasmus Plus calls with a focus on the ones that are only available for Pact for Skills members. And then in the second part of our info session, as I have already anticipated, we will go into best practices from Blueprint projects in the digital sector. And then last part of the agenda, I will introduce you to the matchmaking session and on how to use our matchmaking platform. And then you will have 2 hours for our matchmaking session from 4 to 6. Please invite organization if you haven't done so yet. All the organizations that you have already invited and that have accepted your meeting should be in the recap of your meetings that we sent right before the start of this webinar. Okay, so with no further ado, I would leave the floor to our first speaker that will give us a framework of the Pact for Skills and the Digital Large Scale Partnership. Please, Joachim Schwerin, Principal Economist at DG GROW. I leave the floor to you, and I thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much, Katarina, and welcome to everyone. It is very good to see such a massive interest in our information session and the matchmaking. I'm principal economist in the unit that is responsible for the digital transformation of industry in DG GROW of the European Commission. I initiated the large-scale partnership in the digital ecosystem under the Pact for Skills about 3 years ago, and since then it has been placed in the able hands of Katarina and her team and Ronald, whom I would like to thank very much for making this such a success, and also, of course, everyone involved. My task today is to spend very few minutes on providing a policy context, which is, in my opinion, particularly interesting right now because we have a number of changes coming up that will have an impact on our work and I think make it even more meaningful, but I'll come to that. Next slide, please. So we are right now in the middle of the digital decade. And I don't know about you. I still see the first slide. Could we please move to the next slide? Yeah, thank you very much. So when we started the digital decade, we designed something that, for sake of visualization, we call the digital compass, which summarizes the four main dimensions of our work on digitalization. That's digital infrastructure, that is the public and private perspectives through government initiatives and all the initiatives of the private sector, and then it is at the same level skills. And skills is, I would say, the essential enabler of all of the activities together with the digital infrastructure as such, because we all know, especially in our ecosystem, the relevance of this. We have then, and that's the next slide, please, cut down the skills dimension into a number of KPIs, as we also did with the other dimensions. And here it's just a summary of some of the most important KPIs. There are many more. We focus especially on the education, the re- and upskilling of the workforce, but also, of course, of the young generation moving into the labor markets when it comes to the number of ICT specialists. The objective under the digital compass is to have 20 million in Europe until the end of this decade. We started with about 8 million when we began with our work in 2020. Same applies to things like gender convergence, which was flagged very much at the beginning. And I would add further dimensions to this. This is not only about gender convergence, but this is about diversity and inclusion in a much broader way, specifically also in lifelong learning, where in the future we will put more focus on because it is a very important dimension. And then also not only to look at, let's say, high tech or business use of skills and the necessary abilities for that, but also from a broader perspective on society, on what is the creation and uptake of basic digital skills in the population, where we also have a target. Now, all of that might sound a little bit like 5 or 10-year plans in the Soviet Union or China. So it's good to have a certain perspective at the end of the decade. But all of it, as you know, is filled up with a number of bigger and smaller initiatives that all serve the purpose to get there. And let's not focus too much on the precise numbers, but let's focus on the direction. As you know, the European Commission published last week what will probably be one of the most fundamental documents, if not the most fundamental document for the next 5 years to come, which is the competitiveness compass that basically outlines how we see the input from the Draghi report, from the Letter report, from the needs to make our economy more innovative and stronger. And these points here very much translate into this dimension as well, to take the skills dimension up also in the context here. And that will basically define a lot of the upcoming work. Next slide, please. So in the digital ecosystem, we have built ourselves on the Pact for Skills. I will not go into greater detail here. You know all of that. The Pact for Skills is basically a very fundamental basic charter of 4 key principles, where we have invited everyone in the space to agree to that and sign this declaration. This is no commitment whatsoever that we combine with that. It's mainly to onboard you to a number of activities that enable you then to participate in all the activities, including the one that we have here today. And of course, indeed, we strongly encourage the signatories of the Pact to translate their engagement into concrete commitments on upskilling and reskilling, but that is bottom up and not top down. Next slide, please. So here now in the digital area, we have created in the middle of 2022 the Digital Ecosystem Large-Scale Partnership, which is at the moment, compared with the partnerships in all the 13 other digital ecosystems, one, if not the biggest and most successful one, I would say, in terms of life and output in a way. The digital sector is special because we do not only re- and upskill our workforce in our own ecosystem, but digital skills are relevant for all of the 14 ecosystems. So we have a double role to play. If you don't know all of this yet or have forgotten or would still like to get more information, there are 2 very good websites, one from our friends from the Digital SME Alliance and one on our own webpage, where you see the manifesto of the large-scale partnership and more information, and I invite you to consult that. And indeed, the digital LSP serves as a framework, a collaborative framework to address all these things that are flagged to us by the stakeholders. Next slide, please. So this is just a visualization of what I just said. We have 14 industrial ecosystems that all have digital dimensions. And many of our projects, including those that feed into Erasmus Plus project, but also other initiatives, let's say, for example, in my field of blockchain education, the CHASE program, others as well, relate to one or more of these industrial ecosystems. And we should keep that in mind when we design our coalitions and initiatives, because at the end of the day, there's a horizontal dimension in all of this work where we need to see that what serves one ecosystem also serves the other ecosystems. And then the final slide, please, and then I already conclude because we have a tight program ahead. Now, we have a very interesting moment at this right day here, because we are in the middle of a consultation process of what we call the Union of Skills, that will be next to the Competitiveness Compass, a key first initiative of the new European Commission under the new mandate. The digital LSP will feed into that initiative. So this Union of Skill does not replace what we did under the Pact for Skills, but it will feed into this and actually, in my opinion, become more important, because we've realized in the meantime, when designing this umbrella thing now on the Union of Skills, that we can actually build on a lot of positive developments over the last 4 or 5 years, where actually our skills development and uptake has improved within the European Union. But also we have identified a number of specific bottlenecks that need to be better addressed. I mentioned one of them, lifelong learning. Also, education on STEM is something where we see a lot of issues at the moment, which is why under the Union of Skills, a specific initiative on STEM will come up. Third dimension, and I stop there, I could mention many more, is micro-credentials and how we can build up individual education portfolios or wallets that are easily transferable and where we can secure the diplomas and certificates, for example, on a blockchain, to make sure that they cannot be falsified. So a lot of things that will come up, and I build on the creativity and the continuous effort of everyone involved here in the digital LSP, but also generally in the education domain, to move this discussion forward. And we also, of course, will foresee additional resources for that. I cannot say right now more on this because we're in the middle of the internal consultation, but this package will be published hopefully in early March, and then you will see all the details. I stop here and would hand over to Ronald, and thank you very much for the attention, and I wish you all the best for the matchmaking today, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you very much, Joachim. So I will leave the floor to Ronald. Ronald, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Katharina. Thank you, Joachim. Always good to hear about the Pact for Skills. In this setting, we are together around the Pact for Skills Digital. My name is Ronald Klein. I work as a program manager, an independent program manager for several Dutch investment funds that try to create a systematic change in lifelong learning for publicly funded institutions and also in public-private partnerships. And together with Joachim and others, we have written the umbrella document, and from that we are part of the coordination team together with Katharina. And it's nice to be here and take some of your time to talk a bit more on the digital large-scale partnership, because we try to bring together initiatives around lifelong learning, upskilling, reskilling in a digital domain. And about 160 stakeholders already found the way to the large-scale partnership, and is part of the movement, and also part of maybe this matchmaking sessions already. That's what we do as a coordinating team. Could you have the next slide? Part of the large-scale partnership around digital can be single entities or also umbrella organizations like the ones we will see after these presentations, businesses of all sizes, chambers of commerce, higher education institutes, academia, social partners. So all parties that have a stake in reskilling or upskilling the workforce around digital are welcome to join the Pact for Skills. Next slide, please. And by doing so, becoming a member, you are also invited in these types of sessions, the matchmaking sessions, but also eligible for participating in Blueprint and forward-looking projects. That's one of the benefits of being part of the movement, part of the large-scale partnerships. You will receive from us invitations to join networking and matchmaking sessions, to meet similar initiatives from all around Europe and be part of cooperations, maybe because you have interesting experience you want to exchange on, but also you could work together in EU-funded programs. We will send from our cooperation timely updates on funding opportunities like we did now, and why we are also organizing this matchmaking event. And we also give access to training and tools to upskill and reskill. That's also supported by Ecoris, one of the organizations involved of the Pact for Skills and coordinating the whole process. So being part of this movement, being part of the large-scale partnership digital, it leads to more knowledge on and sharing experience on your own reskilling and upskilling initiative, and also creating cooperation opportunities within this Pact for Skills. Next one, please. If you are part of the, if you want to be a member and not already are a part of this large-scale partnership, you can do so by following this link. The slides will be shared with you, so you don't have to write the link down, but you can click on it later. And by becoming a member, you will be invited and be part of all the activities. But to do so, you have to open the link, select that you want to sign the Pact for Skills. Next one, please. And then this is a crucial part of the process. If you are registering as a member, you should indicate the number 905 to become member of the correct partnership. And you will be put on the list, and you will be invited by us in all the events we are organizing, and you will stay up to date with the events going on around the Pact for Skills. Next one, please. Well, the things we want to organize in 2025 for our members is joint events. We want to organize more information session and matchmaking events aligned with the funding opportunities that will be offered by the European Commission. The next one will be on Digital Europe. We have to plan it, but it will be in April, so you will get an invitation on this. We will organize some workshops to assess skills needs, for example. And what's also one of the things we would like to launch this year is a portal, a website where we can disseminate all results of projects that have been running from the digital ecosystem, and we will publish it and have it collected in one specific place, available for all to read, use, and build upon in next projects. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ronald, for your introduction. Very precious information in the framework given by Joachim and in the presentation given by Ronald. As Ronald was saying, don't forget to register to the Pact for Skills in the Pact for Skills website, and don't forget the magic code for the Digital Landscape Partnership, that is 905. And if you need anything, of course, you can contact me and also Ronald, or you can write directly to the email digitallsp@digitalsme.eu. Thank you very much. So now we will get to the core of our webinar. I know that maybe Joachim will have to leave us sooner, so I thank him once again for being with us. Thank you, Joachim. And I proceed with the introduction of the Erasmus Plus calls dedicated for to Pact for Skills members. So first slide, it's an important preliminary information. So a Pact member is only officially registered when the completed application form is submitted and contains all needed details. Also, when this application is accepted by the Pact for Skills support services that Ronald was mentioning are managed by Ecoris. And the application is considered accepted only when you have received an email with a confirmation and registration ID from the Pact for Skills support service. Could also be that the Pact for Skills ask for some edits. So please make sure that you have complied with the edits requested by the support service team. So next slide, please. So the key actions in the Erasmus work program. As you know, there are 3 key actions in the Erasmus work program. But what is of interest for the Pact for Skills members is key action 2, cooperation partnerships, and in particular in the sub-program of Partnership for Innovation, Blueprint Alliances, and forward-looking projects. That is a new kind of projects that we will delve a little bit more into during this presentation. So next slide, please. Blueprint Alliance projects. I will give you a short overview. I guess that many of you are familiar with these projects, and also we will see some best practices right after this meeting. So the duration of a Blueprint Alliance project is 4 years. The budget maximum per project is 4 million euros, funding rate 80%, and deadline 6th of March 2025. Remember that the proposals must address one of the 14 industrial ecosystem as identified in the new industrial strategy for Europe. So the digital ecosystem is just one of these industrial ecosystems. And of course, in our case, we encourage you to apply for the digital ecosystem. Next slide, please. But what do Blueprint Alliances do? So first of all, they gather skills intelligence. They aim at developing a sectoral skills strategies that is relevant for both the Pact for Skills and their own ecosystem. They also design European sector-wide curricula and training programs. And what is very important about Blueprint project is that within the first year of the project, they address these urgent skills needs. So they will develop this short-term training that needs to be developed by the first year of the project. And throughout the project, they develop training for other emerging occupational profile. So there is a short-term and a medium-term perspective. And then there is also a long-term action plan for the rollout of project results. So Blueprint projects need to reach out to other relevant projects in the field of training, such as the COVs, the European Cluster Partnership, the EIT, KIC, and many other projects that work in the training sector. Of course, what is also important is that Blueprint projects need to deliver, so to pilot and test the curriculum that they develop. Next slide, please. Eligibility conditions. So this is not a spoiler. Only registered members of the Pact for Skills under at least under the right ecosystem can apply. They can be public or private organizations that are legally established in European member states or in a third country that is associated to the program. What is also important is that higher education institutions that are established both in Europe or in a third country need to hold a valid Erasmus charter for higher education. For the consortium composition, there are also quite strict rules. So the minimum is 12 partners, including the coordinator, across 8 member states or associated countries. And among these 12 partners, there must be 5 education and training providers and 5 labor market actors, 1 higher education institution, and 1 vet provider. Next slide, please. So I gave you a glimpse, an overview of what Blueprint projects are. Remember that the deadline is the 6th of March, so it is in 1 month, and you will be able to find partners in this matchmaking session. If you have further, if you look for further information, you can consult the Erasmus Plus program guide or write directly to EACEA. That is the agency in charge of the implementation of Erasmus. Also, you can visit the homepage of Blueprint Alliance. I will go to the next slide to present you another opportunity that is available for Pact for Skills members, that is the forward-looking projects, also financed by Erasmus Plus. So these projects are defined as large-scale projects that aim to identify, develop, test, and or assess innovative policy approaches that have the potential of becoming mainstreamed, thus improving education and training systems. This is the definition that the European Commission gives to these projects. Their duration is between 24 and 36 months. The total budget available is 32 million euros in total, and a maximum grant amount per project of around 1 million, depending on the topic. 80% funding rate. Deadline in this case is a little bit less tight because it's the 27th of May 2025. And there are 8 topics under these forward-looking projects. Next slide, please. So, as I was mentioning, there are 8 topics in the forward-looking projects, and they are divided in 4 macro areas. There are school education, vocational education and training, digital education, and adult learning. What is of most interest for us today is the topic 4, that is in the category of adult learning, and it's specifically the support to the Pact for Skills. Next slide, please. So the purpose of this topic is to improve cooperation between Pact members, which means within Pact partnerships, between different Pact partnerships, also between the Pact and individual members, and between companies, which means between large companies and SMEs, or between SMEs. And all of that in order to support the commitments for upskilling and reskilling. But let's go a little bit more in depth with the next slide. So more in detail, the activities that this project need to foresee are listed in the call documents, and we don't see the slides anymore. Okay. And all the activities listed in the call document need to be foreseen. So it's not just one of those, but all of them. And they are developing and supporting governance structure and cooperation tools connecting members of the Pact for Skills, developing and supporting cooperation of larger companies with SMEs and among SMEs in the field of training, supporting the definition, implementation, and monitoring of concrete commitments under the Pact for Skills. And also here, it's mentioned gathering skills intelligence, upskilling of low-skilled people, reskilling people for new tasks in their jobs, and reskilling people from other sectors with skills transferable into their own sector. Next slide, please. Eligibility conditions. Also, this is not a spoiler since our event is dedicated to the funding opportunities for Pact for Skills member. only registered members to the Pact for Skills can participate. But for this call, the other conditions of the consortium compositions are a little bit less tight. So, of course, it needs to be, the organization needs to be established in one of the eligible countries. But in this case, the consortium includes at least 3 applicants from a minimum of 3 EU member states or third country associated to the program. So it's a, let's say, smaller scale compared to the blueprint. Next slide, please. Last infos about this. About 8 projects will be financed only in the adult learning priority. So as you have seen in my slides, the adult learning priority includes only 2 topics. So more or less 4 projects for each topic. And there will be an info session on the forward-looking projects on the 11th of March 2025, still to be confirmed. Anyways, this presentation will be will be available for you. You can visit the Funding and Tenders portal in the link that I put there and see more in details how these calls work. If you have any questions, you can contact the ESEA policy support. So it's a different email than the one before. Next slide, please. And now, after this theoretical presentation of blueprint projects and forward-looking projects, we will go more in depth with best practices from blueprint projects. So we will go a bit more in concrete. So I would leave the floor to Professor Xander Loop from the University of Applied Science of Utrecht, that is also a partner of ARISA project. Xander, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Katarina. So welcome, everyone. Good to, well, I can't see you right now, but to see you in the matchmaking session today. I'm Xander Loop. I'm a professor of organizations in digital transition at the University of Applied Sciences, Utrecht. And we have been involved now in 4 of these types of projects. The Pact for Skills projects, ESSA on ICT skills, ARISA on AI skills. We're in the Digital for Sustainability project, and we are starting up a SMARTCO project on smart communities this February. Today I'm here to talk a little bit about one of the typical work packages you will find in a Pact for Skills project, which is the strategy work package. Katarina mentioned already that the projects have new requirements regarding deliverables, and if you look at how these Pact for Skills projects have developed, they used to be classic waterfall with consecutive work packages throughout the project. And what we're seeing here is indeed a shift where we still have the waterfall with the milestones and the deliverables, but at the same time we have the urgent upskilling link at the start. But also for strategy, we tend to update constantly, because with digital, things are moving so quickly, is that you need to update during the project and incorporate new elements into both your needs analysis and your strategy. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to go quickly through what we've done in ARISA, which is the project that focuses on AI skills. And we first obviously had a needs analysis that was the input for our strategy development in that project. And what we were focusing on that strategy is to establish a long-term AI skills alliance in Europe, to develop adaptive modular educational approaches for AI skills, obviously to promote diversity, inclusion, and ethical considerations, and that's becoming a bigger and bigger issue, I think, and to strengthen the collaboration between education, industry, and decision and policymakers. Next slide, please. And we approach it as follows. We had 3 steps. First of all, strategy formulation, where we obviously had to define the mission and objectives, and they came through the needs analysis. That was a starting point. Then the strategy implementation, where we developed an action plan that we then made executable and are now executing, and the evaluation and iteration. This is where that loop that I was just talking about is coming back. Next slide, please. So strategy formulation was a result of that needs analysis that we conducted, and that's usually a first step that you do in a project like this. We established an advisory board with industry experts, and we're expanding now with associated partners. We had a public consultation with questionnaires and focus groups, and we defined, based on that, the strategic objectives based on the data insights. And in the implementation part, we were looking at, first of all, short-term plans, what is feasible on a short term, and then also have the long-term action plans. How do we make sure that this project lasts beyond the finishing date of the project? And as part of that, we introduced modular AI skills learning modules, learning programs, and are developing strategic partnerships between academia and industry in this project. And then finally, with the evaluation and iteration, we looked at 2 review cycles in that continuous improvement path. The shortest cycle is basically that every 6 months we meet with the advisory board, and that contains also of industry members, like for instance NVIDIA and Amazon and Microsoft. And then we have an annual evaluation and update of the strategy. So we published the first version of the strategy at the end of year 1, and we've just updated for year 2, and that's a light update, and then for year 3 we're doing an extensive update again. Next slide, please. So strategic objectives then turn into specific focus areas that we were developing. And I'm not going to go through that, but I'll show you a little bit of the process because I'm a little tight on time, but they are aligned with what we previously discussed. Next slide, please. So the key activities that come out of those strategic objectives are to conduct the analysis, to define the roles, to develop standardized training and certification processes, to expand learning through the industry and academic partnerships. So typically we have industry partners, we have vocational education partners, and we have higher education or traditional education partners in these kind of partnerships. We're looking at promoting ethical AI practices and increasing diversity in the way we do AI education. And we advocate for government funding and policy alignment for upskilling. And particularly in this project, what we did there is that we didn't just focus on ICT as a target audience, but we actually expanded beyond just ICT professionals into decision makers in organizations and into policymakers, because we feel that those 2 categories of people also need to be upskilled around AI in order for them to make the right decisions and the right investments and the right policies around AI. So that's part of this project as well. Next slide, please. A big table, I'm not going to go through it, but as you see, the strategic objectives get turned down into smaller activities that we then have identified and that we're executing at the moment. And all of those come with specific targets and target areas that we have for all of those. And those are also executed and part of the quality assurance plan that we have in the project. Next slide, please. So to conclude, that strategy, this AI skills strategy, provides a framework for addressing the AI talent gaps. What is key in here is that there should be collaboration between education, industry, and policymakers. The strategy needs to evolve because AI is moving really quickly and the labor market also changes really rapidly. And finally, if you engage with national and EU stakeholders here, that ensures success for Europe as well. Next slide, please. So call to action for those that are already very active in the chat at the moment and getting to know each other. There are still opportunities to also engage and collaborate with the AI Skills Alliance, and through our long-term sustainability pact, we're actually expanding associated partnerships for our Skills Alliance so we can get a bigger impact in Europe. So come and find us on aiskills.eu and become a partner if you want to. You can engage with stakeholders to implement training initiatives. We can advocate for AI skills, funding, and policy reforms. And this is also a way to stay updated with annual strategy revisions. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Xander, for your thorough presentation. I will go on with the next speaker presenting digital for sustainability and its needs analysis, Paul Artsen. Paul, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you very much, Sander. Actually, you are one step ahead, and that's because Arisa is already a year longer on the way than Digital for Sustainability. So I'm going to talk about the step before the strategy, and that is the skill intelligence part of a blueprint project. And I will tell you something about that, how we did that in Digital for Sustainability. And we started on the next slide. And actually can go beyond this one as well, because there are things. Digital for sustainability, when you start a project like this, and that's very much on the edge, for AI, for example, you can imagine what are the boundaries you want to search for, but still it's moving around. But digital for sustainability is even more agile at the moment. It is about the digitalization for sustainability shift that we have to make. So the contributions of digital to sustainability. So actually, we're looking at digital solutions and how we can contribute with digital solutions to the Sustainable Development Goals. Next slide, please. You cannot start from nothing, so we start from an European framework, the ECF, that's a framework for ICT professionals, and we say we have general roles there, and what kind of roles do we expect are already out there in digital for sustainability. So what you do when you start a needs analysis is that you frame what you want to know about. So the framing in this case was like taking the European framework for ICT professionals, for digital professionals, and see what kind of roles do we expect in a digital for sustainability field. There are already some examples of that around there, but it's a new field. So we really have to have this kind of initial framework, leave it a little bit open, and then start the needs analysis. What kind of skill needs are out there? What kind of roles are needed in the digital for sustainability field? So not a completely blank canvas, but really much to find out. For that, we moved on with the needs analysis itself. So that's the next slide. And again, there. So what do we need to study? If you go to a blueprint project, in the end, you have, that's what Katarina showed, is that in the end, you have to deliver these programs. And to be able to do that, you need a lot of steps in between. First of all, you need to know, what do we want to teach people? What are we educating for? What are we trying to do? So what you're trying to get is like, what is the demand at the moment from all kinds of sources, job vacancies, that kind of sources. You want to figure out what kind of people are needed and what kinds of skills do they need. You also want to translate that, what do they need in a couple of years? Because the problem with education is we don't educate for today, we educate for tomorrow. So if you start training for now, you're too late. So we also have to keep in mind, what will it be in the future? And of course, you need to see like, okay, the current supply is this. So what is the gap that we have to close? What new programs do we need? What programs do we need to pilot? And the first one, and that was Sander already hinting at, in the new blueprint projects, you have the urgent ones that you initially do start in the first year. And then, of course, after that, the more longer term, the midterm, you have like the new roles and new skills you want to develop in your project life. So the coming couple of years. To get this information, you normally use a multi-method approach. You have like different sources to get your intelligence from. We did a literature review, a labor market report analysis, a questionnaire, job vacancy analysis. We also investigated, of course, the supply, what is out there already. And we had expert panels to confirm the findings we got from the other data. So we had like 12 national expert panels with 90 members in there and 15 experts in the EU panel to confirm the findings we found with all these methods. So this multi-method approach gave us a good idea of what is needed, what is out there. And that is on the next slide. What you see here are the key takeaways. don't read it all now. It will take you a bit longer to digest. We have the final report online, so you can see it there as well. But we have a couple of main takeaways, key takeaways. So digital for sustainability is not always on the forehead of people in positions, and they're not already taking it on board when taking decisions. So that's an important one. It is also that we saw that there is no specific roles, full-time roles, but there's more like part-time roles that people fulfill in organizations talking about sustainability. And then we saw that there is a two-way street. Like digital professionals absolutely need sustainability skills, and we have a lot of sustainability professionals that don't have any digital skills. And the two worlds need to talk to make sure we develop sustainable solutions and we can move forward. To reach that, and that's always the purpose of a Blueprint project, of Erasmus Plus project, is that sustainability is integrated in the education, and sustainability have like short training that really can upskill people very fast. That's the adult part, like lifelong learning, having upskilling people that are in the field for 20 years, doing their programming work, but they need to be upscaled to take sustainability on board when delivering things. So AI is an emerging field. Digital for sustainability is even more. So this is just a first inventarization. We have like this report, and then we have to take the next steps. And to just show you briefly what the next steps are, the next slide. And there you see that the needs analysis in a blueprint project, the skills intelligence is always at the starting point, the more or less waterfall that Sander describes, because that leads to a strategy. That strategy is translated into educational profiles. So what do we want people to learn? What are kind of learning outcomes? From that, we define curricula, and then we have the actual learning programs. But Katarina was already saying that a part of a blueprint project is always running the pilots to see how effective it is and to see how you can scale this. And what you saw in Xander's presentation is that you always have like a strategy update process because things are moving along quickly. And that whole process ensures in the end that we get up-to-date learning programs that up and reskill people. So the needs analysis of every project is always like in the first year. I haven't seen a blueprint project that didn't start with it, but then it follows up in a long range of things, actions throughout a blueprint project. In the final slide, I will show you where we are at for digital for sustainability at the moment. Currently in digital for sustainability, we are working on the skill strategy for Europe. So what Sander already did for ARISA is now being done in digital for sustainability. This will be published and finished and published in April of this year. And we are also working at the moment, what Sander already was explaining, the urgent upskilling programs that you have to do the rapid upskilling. We had some pilots run already in digital for sustainability. We evaluated them, working on educational profiles and curricula. So we are gearing towards the fact that we actually can start piloting. Same as with Sander, we loved your involvement in this as well. You are here for matchmaking for new projects. I understand that's very important as well, but the running projects can also use your help. So please keep in touch with us. You can do it through the website, or you can join our LinkedIn community. And if you do so, you can be an associated partner of our project as well. So thank you very much for your attention, and hope you have a good matchmaking session after this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. We are looking forward to the new deliverable of digital for sustainability. So we'll go on with the last presentation of a Blueprint project for today. It's a project that just started the 1st of February, formally. It is a blueprint for smart communities skill development in Europe, SMARCO. So first of all, congratulations to the start of this project. We don't have any material available, but I will just explain you what the project is about. Next slide, please. So the objectives of SMARCO. SMARCO aims to become a one-stop shop for smart community skills, and it focuses on three main goals. One is to address the skills gaps of both smart city engineers and planners and procurers, which means both private sector and public sector, through the development of urgent upskilling courses and also forward-looking training program. Then SMARCO would like to ensure a wide recognition of their trainings through the development of micro-credential training certificates and a wider certification scheme. And it also aims to create a sustainable community of stakeholders to discuss and share these trainings and upskilling and reskilling opportunities through the participation in the Pact for Skills and especially in the digital large-scale partnership. Next slide, please. As you can see, the project counts on 20 partners coming from industry, higher education, but also public authorities, representative organization, ICT professional association, and VET from all over Europe. And some partners are also speakers in this webinar, like Alexander with Utrecht University of Applied Science. Next slide, please. So the challenges that SMARCO is facing are mainly connected to the twin transition that requires not only, of course, technologies and solutions, but also skilled workers, and also in particular on the skills and competencies of public administration staff that are currently not enough, not sufficient to answer the challenges of our world. And then another challenge is the lack of comprehensive knowledge and research on the concrete skills demands and future trends, and also the lack of a comprehensive training program to respond to our needs. Next slide, please. Okay, then the impact that we foresee for SMARCO project is on the short term, medium term, and long term. Indeed, our target groups are learners in the ICT, but also in the smart communities area, companies, public administration, education institution, business support organization, and decision maker. And from the short term, we would like to see an impact on the training and upskilling of workers and in the development of new training programs. For the medium term, we expect increased employability and the market growth. And of course, in the long term, we expect some alignment and support of the EU goals, such as the EU Skills Agenda, the EU Digital Strategy, and the European Green Deal, but of course also high quality training. Next slide, please. So as I was telling you, SMARCO just started on the 1st of March. So it will be kicked off very soon in Brussels on the 19th and 20th of February. And on February 20th, in particular, there will be a panel within the launch of the project about skills for smart communities, empowering the workforce for a digital sustainable future, where we will gather organizations representing local authorities in Brussels, such as ICLEI, Eurocities, and OASC and ENOL, and also the OECD to give a framework of the panel. The current challenge and what we are already working on, Alexander was already saying, is the development of an urgent short-term training that will be concluded by M12, which is February 2026. So we need to work on that from the very beginning of the project. Thank you very much. This is the end of Blueprint project presentation. I would go on with the next slide with a few words on our matchmaking session in case you are not familiar with our platform. So our matchmaking platform, I imagine most of you are already registered to the matchmaking platform. In case you are not, please go to partnerrole.eu. It's an online networking tool that connects organization with potential partner, and subscribe to the digital large-scale partnership community. Next slide, please. How it works. So you register your organization, and once you are registered with all the needed information, you visit the other organization profile. So you visit the profile of the other participants and ask them to meet. And as you can see, your request can be accepted, can be pending, or can also be rejected. Anyways, if your request is accepted, the meeting will be in your calendar. We've sent you at the beginning of this webinar a recap of all the meetings that you have planned for today. So then you will just check your agenda. You can also find your agenda in the platform. You can see it in the screen there. And you join your scheduled meeting by clicking on the link. Next slide, please. So there are also other functionalities of our platform, such as a marketplace that allows you to publish opportunities in the platform, and also through filter research, you can find the opportunities that is most of your interest. Next slide, please. Last but not least, I've seen that many of you are asking us. No, next slide. I think there is a. Okay. Functionalities. It is now possible to send direct messages to the participants. So I saw that many of you are asking me if it's possible to keep in touch with the participants to this meeting. Everyone that is registered to this event is reachable through this functionality on the platform. So you can send them direct message. Even if today you are not able to meet, you can keep in touch through that functionality. Next slide, please. So if you haven't done that, please sign up to PartnerRole and to the LSP community on the matchmaking platform. You can also sign up to other communities, of course, if they are of your interest. So as you can see, as of today, Digital Large-Scale Partnership Community features 485 members. So there are many organizations that you can be in touch with. So to join the Digital Large-Scale Partnership, you just need to click on the Digital Large-Scale Partnership icon. Next slide, please. So I thank you very much for your attention. I hope that how to use the matchmaking platform is clear for you. We will send now a final email with a recap of your meetings in case there were some meetings scheduled now. And I thank all the speakers for being with us today. So Joachim, I think, already left, but then Ronald Klein, my colleague in coordinating the Digital Large-Scale Partnership, Alexander Lub presenting ARISA, and Paul Artsen presenting the skills and needs analysis for digital for sustainability. I look forward to collaborating with you again, and I look forward to collaborate with all the participants through the Digital Large-Scale Partnership. Please subscribe through the Pact for Skills website and register on the matchmaking platform in the PartnerRole. Thank you very much, and don't hesitate to contact me if you have encountered any issue. Have a nice networking session.
Thank you, Katarina. Thank you so much.